Hi everybody, Mischa here with Word of the Day, and there it is. Egregious. What does this adjective egregious mean? Bad. But not just bad. Extraordinarily bad. Conspicuously bad. Flagrantly bad, like in your face, really, really bad. It's my favorite word, to be honest. Where does it come from? It comes from Latin meaning excellent, distinguished, illustrious, the opposite. Now, how is this possible? Well, there are a handful of words in English that we call Janus words. Janus is an old god, Roman god. He was never a Greek god. He is like a really old Roman god, and you can see right the picture. He's got the two faces facing in either direction, and Janus is the god of the threshold, of the stair, of the doorway, of transitions, of beginnings and endings, and things like that. And changes, I suppose you could think of it that way. So this word, egregious, has this double face, right? The positive and the negative. Okay, now when it comes into English, it's still positive. In 1534, there's a translation of a history of England, and at that point, it's still positive. Now remember, we're talking about 1534. This is really the beginning of the real heyday of the English Renaissance, because the English were about 100 years behind the continent. By the early, 20 years before this, Leonardo da Vinci had already died. This is how late the English were coming to this party. But it was a very exciting time to be in London in particular, as all these words, thousands of words, came pouring into English from Latin, from Greek, from French, from Italian. I love stealing from the French, you know what I'm saying? Anyhow, this is what's happening during this period when egregious comes in. And really, I think the reason, this isn't my theory, but it's a theory that I kind of like, the reason that it might have switched from positive to negative, and it did it really fast, like within 20 years, is that it can be used snarkily and sarcastically. Like, oh, well, that was an egregiously fine speech, but of course they don't mean it. And excuse me, by the time of Shakespeare, for example, he's got a character in Henry V that calls another character an egregious dog, and the Calvinists, when they're talking about the Catholics, oh, they're all egregious liars. It's in play, it's negative, and although you'll see little instances of it here and there being used in a positive way, it's basically negative from that point forward. Okay, now, how can we use this word egregious today? It's pretty easy. There's a lot of egregious stuff going on. How about this? TV shows like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and The Housewives of Wherever are falling into some disfavor because of the egregious wealth gap and the conspicuous consumption of these folks. Or how about this? The local sheriff was fired because of his egregious abuse of power. Okay, that's pretty good. And my own personal egregious sentence, because this is the story of when I learned the word egregious. I was in my 20s, and I was reading a book about old-time actresses, and I was reading a little bio of Joan Crawford. And here's where egregious came in. The director who was making the comment about Joan Crawford said, "She is so egregiously bad, you cannot give her a direction like telling a lie, or she will give you a performance like Benedict Arnold selling out West Point to the British." Okay? By the way, I happen to disagree with that assessment. I think she's really pretty good. But let's say that you are really interested in the whole Renaissance thing that was going on in London during this period. You might want to read a book like this, right? This is about Elizabeth I. The title, I think, is, The Life of Elizabeth I. But it's by Alison Weir, and she is a really, really solid biographer of English personages of this period, the princes in the Tower, the wives of Henry VIII, things like that. But if you're going to buy a book like this, not from the big boys. We don't want to give them our money. Let's support independent booksellers by clicking above or below at bookshop.org/shop/word of the day. And I'll see you later.